I've set myself a challenge to take these chef-level Wagyu nachos and make a dish that's just as good with much cheaper ingredients. I'll have to use every trick in the book to get there, but I think we might be in with a shot. First up, let's see what's possible when money is no object. This is an ancho chili and it's delicious. It smells like raisins. Then we got some guajillo and some chipotle. Now the truth is, this is one area you don't really want to skimp on. This is the heart and soul of the dish. These have been de-seeded. We're just gonna cut them up and get them toasting in a pan. The reason we're doing that is to open them up. We're gonna get the oils going in them. They're gonna become lovely and fragrant. In the meantime, we've got some water on the side that's come to a boil. Leave that there. All right, these are nice and fragrant now, filling the room with spice. In they go to the boiling water. We don't need the heat on that. We just wanna soak these in hot water, so there's no heat underneath that. We're gonna let those steep for like 20 minutes. So these chilies are gonna be the base of the birria that we're making, and it's kind of the foundation. It really is what makes like normal birria and good birria the difference, is the amount of chilies and the time to toast them and then to kind of soak them really well. While those are soaking, we're gonna toast our peppercorns and our cumin seeds in a dry pan on a medium heat. Similar to the chilies, we're just trying to open them up, don't burn them, we just want them nice and fragrant. Once these are nicely toasted, turn the heat off and we can add our Mexican oregano and dried thyme, the 2 cinnamon sticks and the cloves. So the jug of a blender, 1 diced white onion, a whole head of peeled garlic cloves, the apple cider vinegar, beef stock. We're gonna remove our, our cinnamon sticks and leave those to the side, but we'll add the rest of the spices and all of our soaked chilies. Lid on, blend till smooth. All right, set that aside and let's start dealing with this Wagyu. All right, so this is a marble score. I think it's a 8 to 9 set of Australian Wagyu short ribs. Let's be honest, this is completely unrealistic. You see this on Instagram a bit and it's unnecessary, I think, as well. But let's do it anyway and see what happens. And also caveat, I'm guilty of doing things like this too for clicks, so I'm put my hand up just as much as the next guy. The reason why it's unrealistic is because I'm pretty sure, as we're gonna prove later on in this video, you can get just as good a flavor using different products that are a lot cheaper. This stuff is delicious, don't get me wrong, but it will be priced out at around $85 per person, which is outrageous. And I reckon we can get something that's just as delicious for like $7 a person. Let's cut these up and get them cooking. So we're just gonna cut our short ribs into 3 and just look at that marbling. Big Dutch oven, high heat, Wagyu tallow going in. Wagyu.
You're a Dutch oven.
I'm gonna season the ribs just with salt, then get them into the Dutch oven and get good color on all sides. Once we've got good color on our ribs, we're gonna pull them out and set them aside. Leave all that fat in there, the fat that's rendered as well. Turn the heat down, well, actually completely off at this point. And we're gonna really carefully add our sauce from earlier. Wow, that smell is incredible. All right, we're gonna cook this out for about 3 or 4 minutes on a medium heat, stirring all the time. Just be really careful because it is like lava, this stuff. So we've got the other onion just in quarters and the cinnamon sticks. Then we add our beef back, put them in, flip them over so they're completely covered in that delicious sauce. And we're just gonna add about 300 mils of that chili liquor. Just enough to cover the ribs completely. Lid on into the oven. So the oven's on 160 degrees. I'm gonna start checking them after 3 hours, but it'll probably take more like 3.5, 4. And I almost forgot, put a couple of bay leaves in there too. All right, so all the other toppings for our nachos, and I thought, how can we push the boat out on all of this? Pico de gallo, one of my favorite sauces of all time. Usually it's made with Roma tomatoes or plum tomatoes. Today, we're making it with heirloom tomatoes. Will it make it better? I'm not so sure. So we're gonna dice our tomatoes. We're gonna dice some white onion, 1 jalapeno, some coriander, lots of fresh lime juice, a little bit of olive oil and salt. Let's see if it makes a difference. Chipotle crema, very simple, sour cream. I've got some chipotle and adobo sauce. I'm gonna finely chop and stir through along with some of the adobo sauce. Job done. I know crema is not just sour cream, but real crema requires fermentation and I don't have all day. White queso, basically a cheese sauce. We are going to use Gruyere for this one. Definitely not a Mexican cheese, actually a Swedish cheese, I'm pretty sure. But I love the flavor that you get from Gruyere. Really nice nuttiness, and I think it works really well with these nachos. Real simple to make. We got some whole milk here. We're going to grate this Gruyere cheese. We're going to whisk it through the milk once the milk's hot. And I'm also going to add some diced jalapenos, season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Job done. Great way to adjust something's kind of viscosity. A little bit of corn flour dissolved in some water, or cornstarch dissolved in some water. Stir it in over hot heat. Bingo. This is the texture you're looking for. Smooth, thick, but still runny. Yummy. Next, the corn chips. And I thought, how can I take corn chips from cheap to expensive without ruining them? This stuff right here, bone marrow. We've got some lovely corn tortillas here. We're gonna cut them up. We're gonna cook the corn tortillas in the rendered bone marrow fat, a little bit of Wagyu tallow as well. Pull them out, drain them, season them with some lovely English sea salt. Delicious. I'm honestly salivating, but this is kind of ridiculous at the same time. Our Wagyu short ribs have cooked for almost 4 hours now. Look at that. This lovely layer of fat on the top, where these bones should just pull right out. Oh. All right, just gonna run our tongs through the meat to break it up a little bit. I still do want big pieces of meat. I don't want this to be completely mush. All right, time to assemble this monstrosity. So we've got a layer of the beef marrow corn chips. On top of that goes our Wagyu short rib birria. I'll tell you what, this birria is very rich. Next, a white queso, our heirloom pico de gallo, cut through the richness, and finally the chipotle crema. A couple of nice dollops. There you go. That's what an $80 plate of nachos looks like. That's ridiculous. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited to taste this. That is deluxe. It's about as deluxe as this dish gets. Try and get some of everything on this. It's delicious. I was a little bit worried it was gonna be too much, but it actually works. It's rich, it's spicy, it's full of flavor, it's full of texture, amazing. But there are a few things that we can substitute to make this a lot cheaper. First up, the beef. So what we've got here is some Angus chuck, a fantastic meat for slow cooking that still has a really good amount of intramuscular fat, as you can see here, but is literally like 1/10 the price. So we're gonna cut this up into big chunks. We're gonna season it really well with salt, and we're gonna seal it off in a pot, just like we did before. And then the rest of the meat recipe is exactly the same. So pico de gallo, same as before, but instead of the expensive heirloom tomatoes, we're using the classic Roma tomatoes. Everything in a bowl, season nicely, mix it, set it aside. And this is one where I think, honestly, these are actually probably better. So the next way we're making this cheaper is we're using really standard cheddar cheese. We're just gonna grate it, and I'll show you a trick my mum used to do for me a little bit later to make it super deluxe. Chipotle crema. There's not much we can do to make this any more affordable, so it's gonna be exactly the same as it was last time. It's also absolutely delicious. Through the magic of YouTube, we have one ready. This took 4 hours to cook, and it looks insane. So we just need to break this meat up like we did with the, and look at that, just a thing of beauty. Just need to break it up like we did with the short ribs, give it a mix through. You want like nice sized pieces like that. I reckon that's the perfect size piece. Time to assemble. So we've just brought corn chips today, reasonable quality, a lot cheaper than harvesting bone marrow and frying your own. We're gonna have a layer of these first. Then, this is what my mum used to always do. The tasty cheese all over the top, even layer. Now, I'm pretty sure Miriam didn't invent this, but I'm a big fan. Sweet paprika, little dusting. Now, to the grill. Oven set to grill, high shelf, under they go. Keep an eye on it, don't leave it, watch it. That's a fart, let it get all bubbly and golden. That's what we're after. That's what you want. A little bit more. You see the paprika starts to kind of make the cheese go orange. Yum. Now, the trick is to have this while this cheese is still melty, so we've got to get a bit of a wriggle on. Next goes our meat. Delicious. Pico. Crema. And that's it. I was about to pick that up, and then I remembered very quickly that that's just been in the oven and it's going to destroy my fingers. So I'm not going to pick that up, but I am going to taste it. Birria, pico, bit of crema. Mate, I like it better. And I'm not just saying that. I'll tell you why. I think the melted cheap cheddar cheese is a better moisture level than the queso sauce. I think sometimes it can get a bit wet. And the beef is delicious. It's got like a real rich beefy flavor. And unsurprisingly, it's not quite as fatty, but it's still just as moist and delicious. Look, food's expensive. We all know that food costs have gone through the roof. And this is still like around 20 bucks a person. It's not a cheap plate of food to make, but it is delicious and it's a perfect sometimes meal. However, I'm pretty sure I can make a plate of food that's just as delicious for less than half that amount. Let's see if I can do it. For the most cost-effective version of this dish, we need to rely on technique. And the first technique we're going to tackle is making our own cheese. Now you may be thinking, Andrew, you're off your head. I'm not making cheese. Honestly, this is like a farmhouse style cheese. There's versions of this all over the world and it's not that hard. So I'm going to add 2 liters of milk to a pot because 2 liters of milk is a lot cheaper than even cheap cheese. Bring that to a simmer. We don't want this to boil. We just want to see steam coming off it. So our milk's come up to the temperature. It's not boiling, but you can start to see there is some steam coming off it. We do not want this to boil, okay? To that, we're gonna add the white vinegar. Stir carefully. Not carefully, but stir. Look at that, it starts going already. And we're gonna add the juice of 1 lemon. So just a reminder, there's no heat on at this point. Stir that through. Now we're just gonna leave it. Just gonna let it sit until all the curds in the whey have split apart. So I got a bowl here with a sieve and a piece, well this is actually like a bag, but any piece of like cheesecloth will work fine. Worst comes to worst, use an old t-shirt.
No, don't do that.
Or don't do that. I got like a fine sieve, shimwa or spider here. We're gonna lift these curds out and let as much whey come out of that as possible, and then into your cheesecloth. Good stuff. Put this in the fridge, 2 hours at a minimum, but overnight is actually better. For this dish, we're gonna make a salsa roja, like a roast tomato salsa. And the reason being is that we wanna introduce some moisture to the plate, and I don't think you're gonna get enough from a pico de gallo. Nothing wrong with it, I just think this is gonna work better for this dish. So I've got half a white onion, I've got a stainless steel pan over a high heat with no oil in it. In the onion goes. I've got 4 cloves of garlic that still have the skin on. In they go. Then I've got 4 Roma tomatoes in half, in they go. We really want to build some flavor here, some char. And I got 1 ancho chili. Now, I want a bit of heat in the salsa. If you don't want it super spicy, then leave the seeds out. I'm gonna leave it whole with all the seeds in there, and we're just gonna kind of toast it and waken it up, just like that. We don't want this blackened at all or anything like that. We just want it softened. Pull that out, leave that to a side, and we want to get these tomatoes, onions and garlic really nicely charred. We've got a small food processor here. You can absolutely do this by hand if you don't have one of these. We're just going to help this chili by just running our knife through it a couple of times. Like I said before, leave those seeds in there. Give it a little mix. Next goes in our charred tomatoes, our onion, and our garlic, which we can now peel. If you want, you can let the garlic cool before you peel it. Oh, big pinch of salt, juice of a lime, and blend. Give it a taste. Right, we're gonna put that aside. Next up, let's make some refried beans. The reason we're gonna add some beans is because we're trying to bulk out the beef. We wanna add some more protein to the dish. Beef's expensive, beans are cheap. They're also delicious, and they add a great kind of viscosic thickness to the whole thing as well. Real simple. We're gonna use butter in a cold pan, then turn it on. 1 white onion, finely diced. 3 cloves of garlic, also finely chopped. And then what I have here is a can, Ben, get in there. Is a can of black beans that I've just drained and rinsed. Once our butter's melted, we're gonna saute our onions and garlic with some pepper and salt. Once our onions and garlic are nice and fragrant, we're gonna add our beans and about half a cup of water. If you had some chicken stock lying around, you could absolutely use that instead. Just gonna let those cook for like 10 minutes, completely soften, and then we'll mash them down and turn them into a lovely refried bean. For our beef, we've just got standard economy minced beef. It's nothing crazy, but you can make this stuff taste real good. It just requires a bit of patience and technique. So I've got a really large fry pan here over a hot heat, and I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of a neutral flavored oil. Fat is your friend here. Not necessarily from like a flavor perspective. We're not using anything fancy like beef tallow or bone marrow. This is just peanut oil, but it's your friend because it's gonna help us build Maillard. The Maillard in the beef is what makes beef taste delicious. So it's really important that we take the time to build that now. And one of the ways we're going to achieve that is by using a good amount of oil. So get that oil into that pan and ripping hot. Ripping hot. Once our oil is nice and hot, we can start adding the beef in little pieces. We don't want to put it all in the pan at once, or the temperature of the pan is going to completely fall away and we're just going to end up boiling our meat. We're also not going to move it for a while. We just want to let it in there. Let it get some good Maillard, let it build some flavor. We're gonna hit it with a bit of salt, and then we're not gonna add any more seasoning until we've got really good color on all that beef. It's gonna take about 10 to 15 minutes, and it's worth just taking the time to get really good color on that. In the meantime, we're just gonna finely dice 1 white onion and 4 cloves of garlic. Okay, we can see the pan starting to change here. The sounds are starting to change, and that's what we're looking for. Now we can start breaking up the beef, and that is what we're after. All this lovely golden color. Scrape the bottom. It looks like there's a lot of fat in there right now, but don't worry. We're gonna break it up as much as we can with a wooden spoon. It's not quite there, but we're pretty close. But now is the time that we're gonna add our garlic and onions. I'm gonna saute that. So I've turned the heat down from like high to kind of medium high now. The last thing we wanna do is burn these onions and garlic. We wanna saute them nicely. A little bit of color is great, but we do not wanna burn them. So refried beans, the liquid's pretty much evaporated. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can just use a masher and do it by hand, but I already had this out and I'm lazy, so I'm gonna do it in the food processor. If you've got the equipment, why not use it? Ain't that right? We don't want puree, we want a little bit of texture here. Oh, now we're talking. So beef, onions, and garlic's looking lovely, golden, smells delicious, but its only seasoning in here is salt. Seems a bit counterproductive, but now we're gonna start adding seasoning. We've got Mexican oregano, smoked paprika, ground coriander, ground cumin, some white pepper, and a secret ingredient. It's not that secret, let's be real. About half a teaspoon of MSG. Stir that through. We just need to toast those spices and bloom them up. It's gonna take about 2 minutes, and then that is our beef mince done. Okay. Let's assemble. So we've got the cheapest chips that we could find, cheapest chips that we could find at the supermarket onto the tray. Now we're gonna put our queso fresco on next, and we're gonna put it under the grill, but it's not gonna do like what the mozzarella does because it's not that type of cheese. So the reason we're putting it under the grill is just because I kind of want it to go like a little bit soft and also kind of like heat it through a little bit so that when you put other stuff on there, it doesn't kind of lose all that heat. Cool. So you can see here, it's like, it's soft, it's hot, but it's not gonna, excuse you, but it's not gonna like melt like mozzarella or tasty cheese would. That's okay. So refried beans next. I'm just gonna dot some off. That's a weird way to say it. I'm just gonna pop off. Now, our delicious beef, on that goes. A roast tomato salsa. Only really moist ingredient here, so you can get a fair amount on this. And finish with some coriander. And I'll tell you what, for like $5 a portion, that's pretty good. Well, $7, sorry. I reckon you can get it for $5, but Caleb will yell at me if I say that. So there you go, nachos that cost literally less than 1/10 of the first ones, but will they taste just as good or better? There's only one way to find out. You know, the technique for pulling this off on a budget is making sure that you're layering flavor and making sure that you're thinking about texture. We're never gonna get that like luscious stewed meat like we got with the last two. So by adding the refried beans to kind of give that mouthfeel is super important. If we didn't have the tomato salsa, we're lacking liquid, we're lacking moisture, so we definitely need that. And the queso fresco, it's not tasty cheese, it's not mozzarella, but it is just as delicious, just as rich, and really brings the whole thing together. So what one is my favorite? Look, this is delicious, don't get me wrong. And if someone served this to me, I would not be upset about it. But honestly, hand on heart, my favorite out of all three is number 2. I think the chuck just works better. I'm also a really big fan of grilling that cheese on the nachos as well. Legends, thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you've taken anything from it, subscribe if you're not, and we'll see you next week for another recipe. And if you don't know, we do actually have a second channel. It's called Back of House. It's linked below, and it's very recipe focused. Go check that page out too. See you next week.